This video is a film study look at how Seattle's defense traveled well, going to Pittsburgh at a 1 p.m. game on Sunday afternoon and really dominated the Steelers' offense. Held them to 13 first downs overall. Did give up one big play to Jalen Warren, I think like a 40 or 42-yard run. Sacked Aaron Rodgers twice, picked him off two other times. Easily could have had a third. I thought they played with an edge, to use a Mike McDonald term. Really took it to Pittsburgh in their home stadium, if you ask me. The recovering a kickoff in the end zone certainly helps in that regard. But I thought, irregardless of that, outside of it, I should say, Seattle's defense really took Pittsburgh to the woodshed. Extremely physical with DK Metcalf and others. Got after the Steelers' offensive line. The whole big boy pass rush group, I really enjoy seeing those guys on the field, as well as Byron Murphy played. And I did a film study video on him earlier this week. When Reed, Williams, Hall, and Mafe are out there, or Lawrence, you can interchange him with either Hall or Mafe. That's a big boy pass group, as I like to refer to it. We're going to get the film started here, and I'm actually going to talk about pass rush stuff first. So we'll have two plays initially where we'll give you the end zone angle. And this is Williams grabbing Rodgers on the way by. I continue to be just amazed at the things that Leonard Williams does. I think that Ernest Jones IV is just occupying the right guard and the running back in this case, making it look like he could blitz through the A gap or the B gap, so the running back has to hold his position. And really then that creates a 3-on-3 over here if we include Derek Hall in that numbers alignment. Williams is working up the field originally, and I wonder if there's some type of mistake here with the way that they get this done. So Williams is working upfield, Reed is working upfield. Hall, I don't think, is supposed to work all the way underneath of this, but that's where he ends up. Watch Williams on the way by. He's able to grab Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's a horse collar or anything like that. Quarterback is in the pocket. It ends up being incomplete. Just absolute chaos. Look at the pocket collapsed completely on Rodgers. There's 5 or 6 other plays that I could use to show that dynamic, meaning the pocket totally pushed back in and collapsed on all 4 sides, completely enveloping Rodgers and really offering him virtually no escape. I'll give you the end zone angle of this one and then the coverage. This is during the second quarter. It's a 3rd and 7. It's going to be a sack by Jarron Reed, who's lined up right here. In addition to that, off the right side, you've got Lawrence and then Williams executing a really cool kind of smooth stunt. It almost looks like Lawrence kind of peels back and holds to perhaps become a spy. We're talking about right here. Rodgers is looking in the middle of the field. I think Ernest Jones IV and one of the defensive backs has kind of taken that window away. And then when Rodgers goes to escape, Reed, you can see him handle the left guard, throw him out of the way, and then go and once again grab Rodgers with one hand, just like similar to what Williams did on the previous play that I showed you. Those guys are exceptional when they're on the field together. I mean, Reed and Williams. Not to take anything away from Byron Murphy, like I said, who had 1.5 sacks, I think 2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits. This is the same play from the all-22 angle. My apologies, I wanted to get some stuff off screen there. Here's the route concept, and these attempts to work the ball in the middle of the field, between the hashes or the middle third of the field, they just didn't bear as much fruit as the Steelers possibly expected, because there were so many examples of them trying to get the ball in the middle of the field. Rodgers is initially looking to his left, the top side of our screen. And then you do have this dynamic, if you ask me, whereby you've got a receiver who's released up the field. The corner and the inside linebacker combo, talking about right here, for whatever reason, didn't seem to be on the same page. Rodgers is now reoriented, looking over the middle of the field. You got a zone drop by Seattle, and no one is open at all from the standpoint of Ernest Jones IV being in the middle here. 1 of the in cuts, 2 of the in cuts, I think that's Austin. Rodgers doesn't like either one of them, so he starts to move around in the pocket, and that's when Jarron Reed grabs a hold of him. The whole 4-man rush ability, that scheme is crucial to Mike McDonald's defense being able to be at its most effective point. If he can get to the quarterback with a 4-man rush, it's a variable 4-man rush. It's not always just whoever lines up there rushes. Sometimes it's a nickel blitzer off the edge and an outside linebacker on the other side dropping out. Sometimes it's an inside linebacker blitz and one or maybe both defensive tackles dropping out. The point is a safer 4-man rush that's variable, and then a 7-man drop behind it really gives the quarterback very little options if you can be highly unpredictable, and that's the hallmark of a good Mike McDonald defense, is that they are. 3rd and 9 in the second quarter. Once again, another 4-man rush. And you got in breaking routes again. The number 3, the tight end, the shallow drag, if you will. The number 2, a deeper in cut. And then later on, this is going to be the route that Rodgers targets, the ball that he throws pretty much right to Kendrick. Kendrick is playing the nickel position up here to the field with Witherspoon being out. And you can see that's the side that Rodgers appears to be looking to first. He doesn't have any quick routes because it's a 3rd and long. Down here, Job is certainly worthy of a film study video, in my opinion. As physical as he was in coverage, tough against the run, uncompromising in terms of his physicality with Metcalf. I think it's worthy of a film study video at this point. But in any case, the throw. I do think that Byron Murphy is starting to get in the lane, the window, the vision, if you will, of Aaron Rodgers. And I put that play in the Byron Murphy film study video because Rodgers really can't step into the throw. I think he's going to be able to get this throw over the top of Kendrick to this later in developing route? No, I don't. Rodgers probably thinks he can because he's made throws like this, and he had on a drop from Freiermuth in this game, he had what I think is the most ridiculous throw that I have seen yet in the 2025 season. I believe Seattle, Rick Woolen, was called for a hold down the field. Rodgers flushed out to his right, somehow throws the ball like 48 yards on a line in the air. So he probably thought he could make that throw. It was a great opportunity for Kendrick to get an interception. Unfortunately, Seattle couldn't take advantage. I want to talk about some of the plays in the third quarter, third and the fourth, in fact, as Seattle's defense took control. I think this is Griffin up here. He'll be involved in the tackle. It's a 2nd and 6 out of 12 personnel. So here's the route combination. First, you're getting a play fake to the running back, and then Jonnu Smith, really underrated but very talented pass-catching tight end, is going to slip out into the flats. I want you to try to pay attention to or focus on, besides Rodgers' unbelievable play-action fake that I'm sure has been talked about ad nauseum at this point, super confident in himself that DeMarcus Lawrence isn't going to veer off and tackle him on the backside. I'm sure it's occurred at some point to Rodgers in his career. But Job is on Metcalf. No, obviously, there's a lot of separation. When Metcalf works his way across the field, it's not like he really closes that distance a ton and gets to Metcalf, because for a moment he was worried about Calvin Austin's route. But let's focus on Rodgers and where he thinks he can go with the football for a moment. He's trying to possibly work it here for Metcalf. It's just triangulated, right? You've got, I think that's Griffin there, Job, and then Ernest Jones the fourth. Really triangulated DK Metcalf. In addition to that, Griffin is orienting himself to Smith in the flats. So that's where I think Rodgers wants to go with the ball pretty much right now. However, he recognizes it's not there. Look at the pursuit. Look at how many Seahawks are focused on getting to the football. A little flip by Rodgers. Jonnu Smith gets, I think, 4 or 5 yards. And then the finish by Job, I think, is noteworthy. The violence with which he played for an outside corner. Credit the guy, because I thought there was times in 2024 where he looked like a weak spot out there on the defense. He didn't on Sunday. I thought he played extremely well. It's not that, maybe there weren't plays where he's beat or the ball could have been thrown to his side. Really physical with his tackles, and this is another example of that. Third quarter, 2nd and 5 is a later possession. In fact, it's going to be a one-man screen down to the bottom side of our screen. And again, it's to Jonnu Smith. So first of all, this is Nwosu, I think is now number 7. And Pittsburgh kind of switches the way they block this. So what I mean is they take Washington, the hulking tight end, and step him down on an inside linebacker. And then Hayward, one of the other tight end / fullback, and he loops out to Nwosu. Nwosu takes on the block in an outside in position and really jacks up Hayward for a moment, and that allows Job to fit on the inside. You can see it's a 3-on-3, right? 3 Pittsburgh players, one of which has the ball, 3 Seattle defenders in the case of, I think, Knight, Nwosu, and then Job. And once again, the way Job finishes this is physical. It's violent. That whole defense, I thought, played with a tremendous level of violence on Sunday that really was something that Pittsburgh was unable to match. Same play from the end zone angle. This is the motion by the tight end. I think that's Hayward, but I could be wrong. Jonnu Smith is going to be the guy who gets the one-man screen. quick to get it out there. It's not Knight. My apologies. It was Jones. I wondered about that when I said that. So sorry about that. But it's still a 3-on-3 down into the boundary. Nwosu forcing it inside. Jones pursuing inside out. He gets taken out by Washington. And then Job is there to dump Jonnu Smith down on the ground. They played with an edge. They played with tremendous physicality, in my opinion. Physicality that befits a Mike Macdonald defense, and in fact is a prerequisite to even getting on the field for a Mike Macdonald defense. Two more plays to talk about the integration of the pass rush and the coverage on the back end. So this is mesh, and it's on a third down. There's going to be a penalty on the right tackle. The high side sit route in the middle of the field is going to be open, but Rodgers is unable to get the football there because of some pressure by the left side defensive end, Derek Hall. But for a moment, take a look at what Julian Love is doing to DK Metcalf. This is the type of thing that you need to do at times to be physical with talented receivers, especially guys like Metcalf who want a free release. They want to be able to run free. Love is decking him, knocking him on the ground. And then Hall is winning against Fatano, if I said that name correctly, who gets called for a hold, rightfully so. Rodgers does escape out of there, and again, you have the route in the middle of the field that's open if Rodgers has the time to plant his feet and get the football there. He does try to work the ball to that receiver a little bit later on in the play as he's flushed out to the top side of our screen, the right-hand side of the offense. I thought that the front four for Seattle was disruptive, maybe not throughout the game, but at the right time. Particularly on third downs. Here's another one. In fact, the last one that I'll show you. This is after Seattle has taken a 24-14 lead. It's still in the third quarter. It's a 3rd and 6. It'll be a scramble by Rodgers to the bottom side of our screen, the right-hand side of Pittsburgh's offense. There is a little bit of a pocket here for Rodgers to throw from if we pause it there, but the ends are getting upfield such that Rodgers steps underneath of it to try to escape. And when he goes to escape, it's Leonard Williams. It's almost always Leonard Williams, the guy who's making plays against the quarterback, or in this case, pursuing the quarterback to tackle him short of the first down. In addition to that, focus on the coverage for a moment. This is Job, I believe, against Metcalf from the bottom of the screen. Physical immediately out of the snap. Staying connected to DK. Really physical all over him. Julian Love in man here. Man across. I mean, maybe that route, I think it's by Jonnu Smith, could be open in this direction. Hopefully Seattle will be able to get the free safety over there. The pressure on Rodgers in this case and on the previous play really took away the opportunity for him to possibly find an open receiver when there actually was one. I thought that Seattle's defense played, with tremendous passion and effort for being on the road. Could very easily be 2-0 at this point, if you ask me, from the standpoint of if you don't turn the football over and make the plays that are out there in the home game against the 49ers, there was a win within your reach. For them to play with this ferocity and this much technique at the same time, without Witherspoon, without Amanwari, I thought was noteworthy and worthy of mention by me. Steelers are held to 72 rushing yards on 21 carries. Like I said earlier, they got after Rodgers. I don't know if they frustrated him. I'm not sure it's possible to frustrate Rodgers, but put pressure on him at the right times, in particular on third downs. Played really well, I think, in holding the Steelers to 5.1 yards per play. To me, I thought it was a complete effort defensively, one that Seattle fans should be really proud of. As an aside, I will try to get a Josh Jobe film study video out this week. Good news from my channel perspective. On Sunday, I'll be able to cover the Seahawks game and do a reaction video because the Ravens and Lions play each other on Monday night, so I'll be free during that time to cover Seattle's a game against the Saints. And then in addition, on Thursday night, there won't be anything else going on next Thursday night in week 4, So I'll be able to cover the Seahawks game against Arizona as well and do a reaction video on that. If you have any other suggestions for video topics throughout the rest of the week, I will try to possibly do a preview on the Arizona-Seattle game. I have a significant film from last season built up, number one. Number two, I've been able to save a couple of full-length film games of Arizona so far, so I do have some impressions on that. In any case, let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. Tried to go over how the coverage and the blitz or the pass rush, was integrated well despite not having Witherspoon out on the field. And I think that's a big loss because, and a lot of non-Seattle fans may not even be aware of how big a loss that is. Witherspoon plays outside corner, as you know, and then on the very next snap can play the nickel DB position. Plays great in man, exceptional in zone coverage as well. Really physical, borderline arrogant sometimes in the way that he makes contact with people and steps on the line or perhaps above it in terms of physicality. But I think you need guys like Witherspoon on your team. And so to not have him out there, he's a force of nature when he's playing well. To not have that guy out on the field with tremendous versatility and ball skills and physicality is a huge loss. Josh Jobe stepped into the void and lived up to the task. I thought that was an exceptional performance by Jobe specifically. In any case, if you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section, number one. Number two, if you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study that I've created about Seattle's defense and their 31-17 win over the Steelers, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.